Welcome to the Ranger's Respite. I'm Philip, and today I'm reviewing a second whiskey because I meant to review one yesterday and it didn't work out. But that's okay. You're getting an extra one tonight. And what is this extra review, you ask? Reservoir Bourbon Whiskey. But before I get into the review, if you like the content that I am producing, if you like my reviews, if you like the Virginia Whiskey Tournament, I'd really appreciate your support. The best way that you can support me is by purchasing goods that I've made. I've got an Etsy shop. I sell hand-turned bowls and hand-turned pens. This pen happens to be Coca-Cola. That little bowl is made out of sycamore. It's a great way to support me, help me support local craft distilling, and also support myself. With that out of the way, Reservoir Bourbon. Now, before I really get into the weeds, I've gotta say that I goofed in my video on Monday when I referred to Holland's Milk. It's Holland's Milk Man that's aged in a milk stout cask. Darn good stuff. If I had $125 to spare, I'd have a bottle of it. In the meantime, let's talk about their regular Reservoir Bourbon. It falls into the category of really interesting. They're using small barrels, open top fermenters. They're right on the James. And that provides sort of like an interesting, like you can kind of smell the brackish James River air. On the nose, there's this nice nuttiness. Some wonderful, like peanut brittly caramel. Some nice bitter oak, a little bit of vanilla. And that like salt note from the brackish air. I have to say, there is an almost beam-like note on the nose. And that is not a criticism of Reservoir. It's a product of the yeast and the open top fermenters, and that brackish air somehow lends it a boiled and salted peanut note on the nose. For some reason, I thought this was 40%. And with 40% whiskey, you can sort of hold it on your tongue and take a breath in and sort of get all that, aerated, nice bourbony flavors. With something that's 50% alcohol, you just get alcohol into your lungs. Oh, slightly painful. It has this wonderfully rich mouthfeel. The nuttiness comes through, but less of a like boiled peanut, and more of like a dry roasted note. Definitely got a little bit of that salt, some of that caramel and vanilla from the barrel. There's definitely a char note. And I think that sort of strengthens over time and deepens a little bit. There's less toastiness and more of that like sharp char and fewer of the nice caramelized sugars. They are still present, but there's less of that than on some other releases, which lends it sort of a darker, it's not really bitter, but like this dark, heavy, rich cocoa underlaying that like char and that peanutty note. It's really interesting. Coming back to the nose. Coming back to the nose, there more of the char is apparent. There's this like sort of musty old book smell. This is one of those like I enjoy it because it's challenging. I know that it's not for everybody, but it's got like a little bit of like sort of you know walks up to you and sort of like grabs you, sort of flavor to it. Darn good stuff. Now, if you've been watching, you know that I don't give numeric scores. I prefer to ask and to answer 3 questions. The first is, do I enjoy it? Yes. It is a rich and deep and interesting bourbon that I think calls on a lot of the oak characteristics of that small barrel while also maintaining some interesting notes from the open top fermentation throughout. And so therefore, yes, I enjoy it. I have to add the caveat of I know that it won't be for everybody, but I like it. Do I think it's a good value? This is where this particular one gets sticky. I like it for $40 for 375. This is 375, right? Yes, I was right. It is a little bit steep in price, but I think that it's worth it. I think that it is genuinely one of the better Virginia bourbons that doesn't go out of its way to do something to make it more accessible to everybody. I genuinely enjoy it. I think that it is worth the cost. That said, it's sort of towards the tail end of being worth the cost, if you catch my meaning. Do I recommend it? If you like Jim Beam and you're looking for something that's got a little bit more guts to it and a little bit more depth, absolutely. I need to pick up a bottle of their Hunter and Scott bourbon and a bottle of their Hunter and Scott rye and see how they compare, because they are their more entry level bottlings, and I feel like while I can't necessarily wholeheartedly say yes, everybody should try this, and I can't speak to those, if those offer even say half of the depth and interest that this bottle presents, I'd say yes, go for it. Those are well worth it. So, yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's an okay value. And yeah, I recommend it if you're looking for a sort of similar to Beam adjacent, nutty, rich profile with more depth and more interest to it. Those are basically my thoughts on it. Which brings us to, it's in the Virginia Whiskey Tournament. The polls are open until this Friday. It is currently the 25th of June, Tuesday. So before Friday, if you want to see Reservoir go through, give them a vote. Links to vote are in the description down below. It's running on Instagram and Twitter. If you would like to support me, I'm selling bowls and pens on Etsy. Check out the shop. It's in the description. There's a link in the description down below. If you want to talk about whiskey and other related hobbies, I moderate the Whiskey Lodge Discord server. We're a welcoming community. We're fairly open, chill, and we'd love to see you. With all of that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's been good talking to you. Stay happy, stay geeks. Sláinte.